Parsha's Tazriah primarily talks about the skin disease called tsaras, loosely translated as leprosy. What would happen was, if someone found the white splotch on their skin, there were different symptoms when it would actually be constituted as tsaras. And when it was established that they had tsaras, they would have to, it was a pretty harsh sentence. They were now considered impure. They had to quarantine outside of the Jewish camp, away from everyone else. And after the time of Tumah finished, they'd come back and they had a whole purification process, shaving process, and they had to bring a special sacrifice, and then they were allowed back into the camp. Now, what's interesting about, many things are interesting about this unique biblical disease. One specific law that is quite fascinating is who was able to establish that this skin disease was considered tsaras. So first you needed a rabbi, a Talmid Chacham, someone well-versed in Torah and in all of its laws, that had to look and see if it fit the criteria. Was it white enough? Were there any white hairs in it? Etc., etc. As the Torah describes all of the laws. You needed someone proficient in the laws to really see if this is tsaras. Yet, this Rav, this rabbi, was not able to make this person tameh by saying this is tsaras. He needed a kohen, a priest, had to do it. The Rambam even says in the beginning of chapter Tes of the laws of tsaras, I'll read, Afilu haya hakayin katan aisheta, even a kohen who is a child, or a kohen who is mentally incompetent. What the Rav would need to do is have a kohen tell the kohen, hey, this person has tsaras, say that he has tsaras. And then the kohen would say he has tsaras, and now this person was considered a leper and had to leave the camp. And the obvious question is why? The rabbi is the one that's establishing the tsaras anyways. So why can't the rabbi just say, you, sir, have tsaras, you are a leper? Why did he need a kohen specifically to tell this man that he's a leper, and that the tumah, impurity, was only established through a kohen? And the explanation, a beautiful explanation, goes as follows. What is a kohen? A kohen's uniqueness. The soul of a kohen is a soul of a lover of the Jewish people. The kohen had a special mitzvah to bless the Jews, and the bracha that they make is Habaycher b'Amay Yisrael ba'ava. Thank you, Hashem, for giving us the opportunity and obligation to bless the Jews with love, and to bless the Jews who you've chosen with love. In fact, halachically speaking, legally, if a Jew has in his heart some sense of vengeance or hate towards one of the members of the community, Kabbalistically, it's actually dangerous for him to go up there to do the priestly blessings. Some poskim say that he should actually leave the shul before doing Berachas Kohanim if he feels any hate towards the Jews in the community in his heart. In other words, the Kohen has to really excel in the midah of Avos Yisrael, in love for a fellow Jew. In fact, that's why the Kohanim were considered the representatives of the Jews, to bring their karbanos, to bring their sacrifices, to be the spiritual leaders of the Jewish people, because they had this exemplary midah of Avos Yisrael, of love for a fellow Jew. Now, when we're dealing with something so harsh as calling out the negativity of tsaras, claiming someone to be impure, and thereby sending them out of living with the rest of the Jews, sending them into quarantine, who's able to do that? Who has the right to establish this impurity? Someone that's not saturated and overflowing with love for a fellow Jew? Who knows? He might not be accurately assessing the situation. He might just have his own feelings of negativity that he projects on everyone else around him. Who could really send out someone that has tsaras through such a severe process, but knowing that eventually this mitzvah will be brought back in? And as the Torah doesn't just want this person to be declared impure. The point of the impurity is to come back with more purity. Who is going to effectively be able to establish, hey, you're a leper, you're impure, you need to go out, go through this process, but you're going to come back and become pure again? Only a kohen, only someone that has Avos Yisrael is able to make this judgment. Only someone that really cares, realizes what he's doing, has empathy and feels connected to this other Jew, and realizes, hey, this is a big deal. If I establish this person as impure, I'm going to be sending him outside of the camp. That's going to hurt. Only someone that could really, really feel for the situation. Does the Torah trust? Will really, really think and try to make sure, hey, am I missing something? Are we really missing something? Before we establish this person as a leper, let's make sure we have all the facts on the table. And only when the leprosy is called out with love will it eventually be effective and be able to be purified. Someone that calls out the negativity of people around them and passes judgment on Jews and calls out their negativity this way and that way could oftentimes be because they themselves are woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I'm feeling negative about my life today. So let me call out your negativity, your negativity, your negativity. But that's not, sometimes, not even accurate. and not even productive. No tara is going to come from calling out that tumah. No purity is going to come out from that rebuke, because that's just coming out of a negative midah of wanting to poke and wanting to call out darkness. Only someone that resists doing that, someone that actually feels love for a fellow Jew, has the right, first of all, to accurately call out a negative trait. I wasn't looking for it. I wasn't looking to see your negative trait. So if it's there, it must be that it's actually apparent and something that needs taken care of. And more importantly, perhaps, only when it's called out from love will it actually be received, and will the person actually look to not be distanced, but to come closer and to have a tara, to become purified. When we're dealing with students, kids, Jews around us, rebuke is sometimes necessary. And discipline is obviously sometimes necessary as well. But for it to be effective, it has to be felt that it's coming from a place of love and closeness. If it's coming because today I'm in a bad mood, and you're getting me angry, and I'm not doing it from a wholesome place where I'm grounded in myself, noticing you and loving you and not wanting to have to put you through a hard time, but you have something negative to you that needs to be dealt with. If it's not coming from that space, then all it will do is cause distance. The person will just close his ears to what you're having to say, especially in our generation. People only care what you know if they know how much you care. If people feel that you care about them, and your discipline, and you're rebuking them, and you're calling them out is only coming from a place of deep care, then it will be effective, and then you calling that person tameh will eventually lead him to become tahor again as well, and will become productive, well-received, and only develop the bond between you and that other person. The Frierdiker Rebbe's mashal. The Frierdiker Rebbe had a parable for this back in the day in Russia. What they would do to relax and unwind sometimes was they would go to the banya, the steam house, the schwitz, and over there there were people who would have these whips. And officially, it felt very good that when the body would get very heated, they'd take a whip and it would release something in the person. It would make him feel very good when he had that much heat, and then he'd get whipped. So the Frierdiker Rebbe says when you're dealing with Jews that need rebuke, no one's perfect. But what you should do is you should warm up Jews around you with love, connection, until they get warm enough that they'd start asking for you to come whip them. Just like in the schwitz, when it got hot enough, they wanted the whip, and then when they felt the whip, they felt like, So too, the way we need to deal with Jews around us, yes, no one's perfect, people do need it called out, people do have tumah that needs purification from, but do that in a way that you warm everyone up, like the schwitz, until they ask you, come, whip me, I'm ready for your rebuke, I want it now. And that's the right way to effectively rebuke someone, and rebuke them in a way that it will, first of all, be accurate, and second of all, be effective and only bring more bonding and Avos Yisrael and Achdus Yisrael between Jewish people. Have a good Shabbos.